Hey everyone, Sean and I recently saw the new film Captain America Civil War in theaters, and we just wanted to do a little video to share our opinions and thoughts of what we thought of the movie, basically. It's definitely not a perfect movie, but it was a lot of fun to watch, and there's a lot of cool things hidden within the movie that we wanted to share with you, and basically give our opinions about. So, Sean, if you want to jump right in.
Well, I could definitely say it's a very under the radar film. Not too many people know about this film, and never mind. no,
Yeah,
yeah,
obviously we're talking about Captain America Civil War.
we
Um,
got Marvel's Batman v Superman done correctly, essentially.
exactly. It's actually very interesting to see them both done within like the same proximity of time,
Yeah,
because
it's
they're
like
two very
here's.
similar
I just imagine
concepts.
like a teacher in a film class saying, "This is how you do a versus movie. This is how not to do a versus movie."
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. But I don't know. We can start. Usually, what I think is a good way to start is maybe talk about some of the characters that shined in the movie.
Yeah. Well, I
Uh,
think before we do that, I think we should just like say our initial impressions of the
oh
film.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, of course, of
what
course.
do we think? Because obviously we both really liked it,
Mhm,
but
mhm.
like, how much do we like it?
So you want to go ahead and do that first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Personally, I really enjoyed this movie. Like, the hype was very. There was a lot of hype for me for this movie because I remember like the Civil War comic being very
Mhm.
pretty bold with a lot of the choices it was making. Granted, it's not a particularly good book, but it's a very interesting book to make an adaptation on. And of course, like the movie couldn't exactly follow the book exactly because like half the characters are owned by Fox. So
Yeah.
yeah, so like they couldn't do that. But for what they have, considering like what they had to work with, I think they did a really damn good job. I think they had the right amount of character, the right amount of drama, the right amount of comedy. It just like I think everything all around was just fantastic. And really, my
Yeah.
only issues are just like nitpicks. I don't really have any
Mhm.
super issues with the film.
Yeah. I mean, like you couldn't have said it any better. The main thing is that doing a versus film with multiple characters that the reader or the viewer is holds those characters really near and dear to their heart, and to see them fight is a really daunting task to put into film. So when you're seeing films like Superman versus Batman and Captain America Civil War, you definitely do get hyped. I remember when I first saw the trailer, I watched it over and over again, and
Go
every
frame
time a
by
trailer,
frame, try to
yeah,
find
every time a
all the
trailer would
Easter
come out,
eggs.
I would watch that over and over again. For me, whenever a Marvel movie is like about to come out, I always go into these research Marvel superhero modes where I
Yeah.
just like I don't know what gets into me, but I like go online, I like search up everything I can know possibly about the new movie that's coming out, because it is really interesting to see, especially like I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends were like did not expect that they would go with the Civil War storyline of the comics. Like they didn't expect them to go with that arc that appeared
Yeah,
in
because that's
the
a
Marvel comics.
that's one of the most that's like considering that is like the most probably the most difficult Marvel film to make since I'd say Avengers.
Yeah,
Because
and
like this was like a very this was a pretty ballsy move on their parts, and I
but
think
it
they did
it
a
definitely works. I can
yeah.
it worked really well. I can definitely say that. Probably it's my favorite movie out of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't know if you agree. I just had a lot
I
of fun with it.
I do agree. I think I'm still kind of on the fence on because it's definitely my top three
Yeah.
next to Winter Soldier and Guardians, but like I'm still on the fence on like whether or not like on what place to put it. It's definitely in the top two. I'd say.
Yeah, yeah. I guess that's where, the problems of the film come in. I don't know. Do we need to like warn of spoilers or at this
Let's just say like okay. Well, I think at this point, let's just say like from this point on, it's gonna be spoilers. So
Yeah.
if you don't want the film spoiled for you and you haven't seen the film, all two of you who haven't seen the film already, then stop watching this video and go watch the damn movie. You're
Okay.
gonna. It's
Well,
like it's $10 well spent. I could say. I
I'll
can say that.
I guess I'll start just really briefly with like some nitpicks I had. One of the things that really not bothered me, but it was kind of noticeable is for some reason these Marvel movies tend to use a lot of shaky cam and like Dutch
Yeah.
angles. And I know what it's meant for. It's meant to show that, this is it's a stressful situation. You should be worried. But another part of me is like their fighting choreography that they have going on is so good that it
Yeah.
seems like such a waste for them to focus all this time into making shaky cam sequences. Like there was actually a part in the movie that I was talking to Sean with about earlier where it's just um Bucky and Steve like Captain America and the Winter Soldier fighting Tony Stark,
Yeah,
Iron Man, and
that bit is
yeah,
beautifully choreographed, and
no
the camera's just zooming in.
yeah, no shaky cam, no nothing. It was like it was very powerful.
It
I'm
was
not
in
gonna.
like that was like one of the shots in the trailers, and even though we've seen it like several times through watching the trailers, it's still very effective
Yeah,
because
because
it's kind of like the shooting the man scene, the
yeah,
old man scene in Catching Fire. Like you see it all the time in the trailers, but it's still unbelievably powerful in the
yeah,
film.
and the tension definitely builds up throughout the story. Like, um, I guess we're sort of going into spoiler territory. Like, you see at the beginning, they're sort of all on the same side. Going around different places fighting bad guys. That's where we get our first throwaway villain, uh, known as
Yeah, that
Crossbones.
kind of leads
It
into
was
a
it was unfair to him, I think, because
yeah,
Crossbones is supposed to be sort of interesting in the comics. He's supposed to be like this sort of annoying tick in the
kind of like
back
the
of.
Boba Fett of
Yeah, exactly. So
Marvel.
it was annoying to see that they killed him off really early, but at the same time they also set up a new side villain. He doesn't seem like a throwaway villain. Uh, I
Yeah,
know you remember it. I was really excited to see him there. Baron Zemo.
yeah. This guy was
He
Well, here, go ahead.
No, yeah. So I was just probably gonna say what you were gonna say. He's like this behind the scenes sort of choreographing what's happening. It's kind of like Lex Luthor was
Yeah,
in.
he's definitely one of the most. I was a little worried at first that this is gonna be like one of those. Oh God, we got another. Because like aside from Loki, which even though Loki kind of sucks at what he does, although he's a
Mhm.
lot of fun to watch. There hasn't really been a good Marvel villain,
No, not at all.
and I'd say this is probably the closest we've gotten so far. Because he's not a bad guy. He's human essentially.
Yeah.
He's essentially just this man who's like broken down from all the shit that's happened with his family was killed. Spoiler, not more already spoilers, but
Yeah.
his family was
In
killed. He wants
Sokovia during
revenge,
the last film.
and
Yeah.
he doesn't raise an arm. That's kind of one thing I was expecting him to do. I thought he was going to wake the other Winter Soldiers, but no. Apparently, like that wouldn't really do anything. That would just form them together.
Yeah.
So what he's essentially just trying to break them up in like the most powerful way he possibly can
Yeah.
through
And
lying,
yeah, go ahead.
manipulation, all sorts of crazy shit, and
Mhm.
it's really effective. I really
Yeah,
liked it.
absolutely. And it's also interesting to see like he actually has it's not just he's coming out after the death of his family in Sokovia. He was involved in the Winter Soldier enhancement program. Like he was a big player in Captain America's life, but they never really knew each other. And it's really interesting to see them that the first time they're actually coming together is him trying to basically pit the Marvel heroes against each other, which is really powerful. But yeah, so definitely a good part of the film was I actually liked the fact that there was a villain, a person that like you could look forward to the heroes hating on. Like
Yeah,
one thing that bothers me about it is like I didn't want all the fighting to be for granted. I wanted there to be an end goal, and Baron Zemo is perfect for that.
yeah. What I liked about him was that he wasn't. To me, like Civil War didn't really need a villain. It just needed someone to like create a
Mhm.
snowball to like push over the edge.
Right,
So
right.
like the conflict just gets bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where it just snaps.
And like you see all these like the heroes are just not necessarily like they're dragged into the fight um, through passion, but it's almost against their will. The only character that wasn't really like there for his own gain was Spider-Man. He was just
Yeah,
there to like help out, and He was just
we
there to
can
help out Tony Stark, but like he was really good. I
yeah.
did not expect that.
We could get to. I think that's a good way to start. Like we should talk about the character. Let's leave
Oh yeah,
Spider-Man
yeah.
for last because I think we have a lot to talk about with him.
Okay, okay.
So let's start off with the main two. We got Captain America and Iron Man.
Mhm.
Once again, Chris Evans, perfect Iron Man. Perfect Iron Man. Yeah,
Perfect Captain
they
America.
swap places. Yeah,
But really, he
he's
is.
a
He is
perfect
like,
Captain America, and Robert Downey Jr. is a perfect Iron Man.
yeah,
And
great
what
casting.
I love about this is that they pit them against each other, but what I like is that they kind of swap roles in this sense. Where at first Captain America was like, "I'll fight for the government. I'll do what I think is right. I'll follow orders. I'll do it's the American way in a sense
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that." Where Iron Man was kind of like, "I do my own thing. I'm not gonna deal with the government's BS. I have now just officially declared world peace. Yeah."
Uh huh. And now you see
And
them
now
switch.
like
Yeah.
he's more like Captain is now kind of going against the government for his own personal reasons, which is what Tony would usually do. And
Mhm.
now Tony's for the better of all people is going with the government's plan.
See, that's although that's one of the problems I kind of had with the movie. Like, obviously the motivations are there. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think the movie they did a good job, but they didn't do a fantastic job of showing why Tony would throw away his values of being his own person to being like for the government. There was a scene where Iron Man, Tony Stark, is going up to this woman who's waiting in the hallway, and basically, in that whole confrontation, this woman tells Iron Man, "You killed my son because you were careless in Sokovia. I blame you." She said, "I blame you," verbatim, and
Yeah,
I
that was
feel
a
like
pretty awkwardly
yeah, I don't like that
worded
because I
sound.
feel like they shouldn't show that they should show that the people blame the heroes, not say it, because
Yeah.
that's not as effective as if they were gonna show like,
More so like
oh
show don't tell, which
yeah,
is usually
absolutely,
works in a lot of
absolutely.
films.
So that was one of the weak points
Yeah.
in my opinion of the film. The motivations were definitely there for like Captain America. He definitely had the right to be going against the government, doing his own thing. But I didn't see it as much on the other side. It was there, just not as strong.
Yeah. I kind of okay, I think this is like one of the only points where I kind of disagree with you. I think
Uh-huh.
I think what they did was like they kind of depicted a Tony Stark who's kind of like he's getting older, like he's getting broken down by all of
Yeah.
these fights that's going on. So he's like I just imagine like he's just sort of done with the fighting. Like he doesn't want to go on with this anymore. So he's just trying to find some way for it to end.
Okay.
Which is why I think he's trying to find. He's trying to, from what I could tell, like he's trying to like find the best option out. And it seemed like this Sokovia program was his best option. He probably didn't agree with it entirely, but it seemed like that was like the cleanest way to
Yeah,
solve
I
it.
can
I think that
definitely
was,
see what you mean.
I think that was like the intention they were going for.
Yeah, they just wanted to show like, um, in a much better way than like I don't know why I keep doing this. I'm just gonna draw a lot of parallels to Batman v Superman, just because
I wonder why.
they're largely the same concept, and you want to see what one did right that the other didn't. Like in both films, you have Iron Man who's like this broken down like hero, like not in his former glory days. Unlike Batman, and same deal with Batman and Batman v Superman. He was just this broken down guy. He was done with fighting. He didn't care anymore. He just wanted to find almost like an excuse, like how Tony Stark is trying to find like an excuse, like a way out of all the blame that's on him. And he thinks that like signing these Sokovia Accords is like, okay, it's not my fault anymore. I'm doing the right thing. I'm like listening to the
or at
government.
least going in the right direction.
Yeah,
more
yeah,
so.
So, I don't know. What else did you think about the other characters? There was the
Well,
cast was large.
let's go on with let's go to we'll save like the smaller characters. We'll put them like on one category. Let's talk about the Winter Soldier, the Winter Soldier, Bucky.
You mean Egoraptor?
It,
I'm sorry.
ever since you told me that, I can't unsee that.
He does. He looks like Egoraptor. But anyway,
it's kind of. But yeah, I am glad they finally showed off more of Bucky in this because we didn't really get to see too much of him in the Winter Soldier.
I mean,
Even though
yeah,
he is really good in that, we didn't really get an idea of like what he went through. In this, it's kind of fucked up what he goes through.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's borderline disturbing.
I mean, you see him in Captain America, the first Avenger, and like, oh, like, he's gone, and then they
Yeah.
obviously he's back
Surprise!
for when,
I'm
what?
back. That's
Yeah,
like
he's
surprise! I'm
back for
back.
Winter Soldier, but you don't really see him develop in this movie because he's still under like this
The
almost like a
manipulation.
hypnotic phase. Yeah, like after he was like recovered by the um
The Soviets.
yeah, the Soviets and brainwashed basically. So, I mean, we got to see him develop a lot more in Civil War than we did in Winter Soldier. Not knocking Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier was fantastic.
Yeah.
But
I think
yeah.
like one of the most powerful scenes for me in the film was when Bucky was locked in the cell and the guy was just reading the words to him. You see him actively trying to get out of that cell. Like you see he doesn't want to go back to that place. Like
Yeah.
he's like scared out of his mind.
It's important to know that he's not a fan of what he's become. He's not doing all
Yeah.
these terrible things on his own. It's
He's essentially just
manipulation.
a puppet.
hmm I think that I mean, you can sort of go right into Black Panther from that, because him and Bucky end up becoming really big rivals
Yeah.
throughout the duration of the film. Uh, Black Panther, as we know, is like, well, actually not as we know. He's kind of unpopular, which is really weird.
But
He's
it's a
basically
sad
like
thing.
Batman, if Batman was like a prince. He is a I guess
Essentially,
a vigilante. He goes
yeah.
around. He lives in this. He's the leader of this African country called Wakanda, and they are the leading producers of vibranium in the world. So
Basically, he has a whole suit made of vibranium,
vibranium, like
and
some cloth
his
weave of it.
what I love is at the very end, like when you see his basically his lair, and there's just a giant vibranium statue of a giant Black Panther. It's like there goes trillions of dollars of
Yeah.
vibranium right there, but it looks cool.
It's funny too, because it's like that's the Bat Cave, except it's the Panther Cave. If you can,
The Panther
he
Den.
has his own secluded area. So, the motivation behind Black Panther is that um, there was a bombing at a UN meeting, and his father was present there, and his father was killed in this bombing.
And
So the
they
media
came,
blames this on Bucky.
yeah, because
And
like the media like thinks that Bucky did it when it was really just like a stunt double, well, like a double trying
it
to.
was one of the other Winter Soldiers that
Yeah, that was
during
just a way for Zemo to get to Bucky,
yeah.
essentially, which is I think is a cool
Yeah,
concept.
it definitely sets up the whole
Yeah,
scene. Like nobody, everyone's doing the right thing, but they have the wrong idea. Like
yeah,
um, Black Panther would be totally correct in going after the guy that killed his father and many other people. He's just going after the wrong guy,
yeah,
and he's really cool while he does it too. He's
yeah.
got like
What I love
vibranium
is how
claws.
persistent this guy is. Like
Yeah, yeah,
chasing him down via like from rooftops to like through like streets. That's one thing. But he gets in his jet and follows them to Russia.
yeah.
It's like Jesus.
He's a total badass too. Like, if you'll notice, like a lot of characters in the MCU, they tend to joke around a lot. Black Panther doesn't do that. He's
Yeah.
all about business, which I think is really refreshing.
It's
Cause
a good
I don't
it's a
want
good
there to
contrast because
yeah, I
like
don't want there to be too many like jokey, fun characters in the MCU. I want to see some serious uh, characters that are like serious about what they're doing. Kind of like in the DC universe, like it's a lot more about the business. Well, in Marvel, it's sort of like uh,
it's
it's
business, but
almost like
we're
fun
gonna
and
we're gonna have
games.
fun while doing these
Yeah,
business.
which is
Yeah.
another thing that really bothers me because again, spoilers. Nobody died. That's
Yeah,
it's kind of a problem.
you know,
None of the heroes died.
I I can see that, but at the same time, like I remember hearing a cool argument about like if they killed Captain America, and what they could have done for like Infinity Wars was have all of them like come together to bring him back through like the time or like space gem, in a
Okay.
sense, which is a cool concept. But at the same time, it's like okay, you're killing this guy off just so you can bring him back later. It's
Mhm.
like like I think like either kill him permanently, which they would never do, because like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where you kind of have to accept like it's there. You might it's not done terribly. It's not offensive to me, so I'm fine with it.
I just I'm kind
Like
of bothered
the
by that.
fight was enough for me. Like the fact that
Yeah.
it was. I personally, I think a death is not as powerful as just seeing the team crumbled,
Well, no,
like
you're
crippled, like brought,
absolutely right
like
about that.
completely
But like
like
even the
destroyed.
characters that we expected to die, like War Machine and like
Oh
Falcon,
yeah,
even the minor characters like this didn't die. I know that it's important to see that they're fighting, but you can't consistently trust the Marvel universe if they keep saying, "Oh, we're putting our heroes in these life or death situations, these dire situations, and nobody dies."
and they take the Lord of the Rings route in that
Yeah,
case. Like just
nobody dies.
it's
It
like
just it doesn't really
I
make any
fell down a
sense.
pit with a dragon, but I kicked its ass and got up a
Yeah,
mountain. I
exactly,
won.
exactly. So, I don't know. That's another problem I had. Other than that, I think it was like a lot of the other performances, since we were talking about characters,
Yeah,
were awesome.
but yeah,
Ant-Man,
let's go into this. Yeah,
like
Ant Man.
I
Like,
just,
good God, that was
hmm
he was like the perfect counterbalance
yeah,
to like all this because like for the most part they were pretty serious about what was going on, but Ant Man was like that perfect like it's like just seeing him get out of the truck and geek out over the fact like wow it's Captain America, it's Captain America right there. I
yeah,
know you too. You're great. I love that bit.
yeah. I
And
mean,
the
like,
fact that like he's joking around while fighting too. Like my favorite line in the film, well, one of two favorite lines. The other one's from Spider-Man, but I'll get to that in a second. It's like he he go like he's in Tony's suit. He's ripping stuff. I was like, "Who's talking to me? It's your conscience. I haven't spoken to you in a while."
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
that. It's like well done, Paul Rudd. Like
And they also revealed the Goliath, which is in the
yeah,
comics,
which
Ant-Man could go really small or he could become huge.
leads
And
into my favorite line in the film. Like when he turns into a giant man, you just see Spider-Man going, "Oh shit!" It's like
yeah.
that was I think that got the biggest laugh out of, in
Yeah.
the
And
audience.
I don't know, do you want to talk about the Empire Strikes Back reference?
Oh man, that's. Oh wait, hang on. My microphone's being weird.
Okay.
Give me
Well,
1 second.
I'll just set it up like.
Oh wait, hang on. Wait, no wait. Okay, yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, you good? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay. Okay, so let's talk about the ultimate elephant in the room, Spider-Man.
Mhm.
Now I'm gonna start off with a negative, because almost everything I have to say about him is positive. The one negative I have, you could have taken him out of the story, and it really wouldn't have affected
Yeah,
anything.
he had no
Like
he had no business being
he
there.
was fantastic, but there was no plot relevancy. I feel they just had him there because he played a big part in the comic,
Yeah. But
which is
he
kind of a
didn't in the
shame.
film.
But like, yeah. But other than that, probably so far the best on-screen Spider-Man I've
Best,
seen.
yeah, no,
Because
easily best on-screen Spider-Man.
he perfectly because like that's the thing. Like I've been waiting for a while for a Spider-Man that kind of encompasses like both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. Because Tobey Maguire, I feel, perfectly capture like the insecure Peter Parker, like the guy who's like down as luck nerdy.
Yeah.
That
And then
worked.
Andrew
He owned that.
Garfield.
And like, but when you see Maguire in the suit, you don't really believe it's him.
Mm-mm.
He seems like he's phoning it in a little bit.
Yeah.
So it didn't seem very believable. Garfield was too cool to be Spider-Man. Basically, he was hipster man before he
Yeah,
became
yeah.
Spider-Man.
He didn't really show like he wasn't relatable to the basically the nerds that are reading the comics. Like Andrew Garfield wasn't relatable to the people that have been fans of Spider-Man. We needed someone who was yeah, he was a nerd, you could relate to him. That's the best part about Spider-Man. He's easily the most
Yeah,
relatable hero in the entire Marvel
yeah.
universe.
Which well, I'll talk about another thing I love about. But well, I'll get to that in a second. But when you see Garfield in the suit, you totally believe it's him. Like
Mhm.
he is just constantly at a 10 when he's
Yeah.
on there. And I feel with Tom Holland, the new guy they have, which thank God they got someone less than 25 to play this character,
Yeah.
because I'm so sick of seeing an adult playing what's supposedly a 16-year-old boy. At least this guy seems like it.
Yeah.
But when like he perfectly captured like when I first saw him like when you just see him like enter the room and see that Tony Stark is there, it's like, oh, Tony Stark, hi, how are you doing? Like that's Peter Parker. Thank you so much. That is
Yeah.
perfect.
It just perfectly
and like
encompasses his
how he's
personality.
constantly trying to like hide the fact that he's Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, you saw that clip on YouTube. It's fine. And when you see like Tony discovers the suit, it's like, no, he just throws it over there. It's like, yeah, that never happened. It was really
So But there's like a kind of a new origin story to his suit. Uh, he does. I mean, he makes a crappy version to begin with, but
Yeah,
Tony Stark is the guy that gives him the cool upgrade that you see in the trailer
yeah.
with the eyes, the animated eyes
I
and stuff.
I kind of like that honestly.
I do, I really do, because it builds a relationship between the two
Yeah,
heroes.
and
It
also
shows that
because
they're,
like
yeah,
I'm glad they didn't. One thing I'm really happy they didn't do is that they didn't really show like the origin story of Spider-Man because we had five
yeah, we
movies,
don't need it. We've seen it
and
many times.
the best thing for me is like they very subtly hint at why he is Spider-Man, like which is actually kind of ironically similar to why Tony does the things he does, because like he says like basically I had the chance to do something right and I didn't do it. Now it haunts me. So now I'm doing this because I feel I have to, which is
Hmm.
the same reason Tony's doing a lot of the things he's doing right now,
Yeah,
which really builds a nice connection between the two. And it very subtly hints at like what happens to Uncle Ben, who's probably like 30 in the considering Aunt May, but we'll get to that in a second. But like yeah, I really did. And when you see him in the fight, that's like okay, thank God we get because like this is one thing I
yeah.
love about Spider-Man because like even though he is probably one of my favorite Marvel heroes, he's not the most perfect. He's not the best character, but that's what makes him so great.
Yeah.
Like basically everyone's annoyed to be with him on this set because
Yeah.
he never
He
shuts
just
up.
yeah, he just kids around when he's fighting. He's
You
like
have the
making
right to
jokes.
remain
He's
silent.
punking people. It's just it's a blast to watch him while he's on screen, which
Yeah.
is definitely one of the best parts about the movie. I just
Hey guys, remember that old movie called Empire Strikes Back?
yeah, yeah, he does make a reference to Star Wars, which is really neat.
Yeah. It's a
But I
shame though, because now we know that in that universe, Star Wars is a movie, so we can't have the Star Wars MCU crossover film.
yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but
I would pay big money to see that. That would be really awesome.
I just wanted to point out that you see in again Batman v Superman connection. In Batman v Superman, they feel the need to show the origin story of Batman that we've seen many times. We've seen it in the Tim Burton films. We've seen it in
The
the
Nolan
Nolan
films,
films. We've
a
seen it in
little
the
bit,
animated
a
series.
little bit in the animated series, not too
Yeah,
much though.
but we've seen it all over the place. We know Batman's origin story. We don't need another introduction, especially since the most recent Batman film was only a few, like 8 years ago. Was it 8 or 5 years ago?
For
Yeah.
you
So,
mean Dark Knight Rises?
uh, yeah, it was
No, that was
5 years.
that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So even earlier. I mean, even newer. But like, you see what I mean? You don't need to show off the origin story when it was
You
explored
just need to give
just a few
subtle
years
hints.
ago. Yeah, you need to make references to it maybe, but they showed like I have no emotion tied to that origin story. Like, I can see Batman's parents die over and over again, and it will not elicit any emotions.
Yeah.
If I see
Well,
Batman reacting to it, I can totally feel bad for him.
well,
And that's what I like
I
about this. Like, we don't see Uncle Ben dying. We just sort of see, like, the result of what happened because of that.
yeah, because it's assumed at this point he's like he's been dead for like 6 months or like 7 months.
Yeah.
But like I will say like for Batman v Superman, like I will say like I think the two films that actually did get it right was Batman v Superman and Batman Begins. Because when I
Yeah.
saw it in the original Batman, I didn't really feel that much because the scene felt a little rushed.
Yeah. And Batman Begins was perfect, in
Like
my
it was
opinion.
just you felt so bad for Batman. It's like Jesus Christ, that's horrible.
I
The way-
don't know.
with-
I didn't feel it in Batman v Superman like you're
well,
saying.
I more loved the way it was done because it was very much an abridged version. Because like
Yeah.
the way it was shot just looked beautiful. It was like it was also one of the more brutal deaths I've seen because like you just see like the gun was like right up against Martha's neck.
Oh, yeah, about that. We
Oh yeah,
every
should we
time I
get
see someone's
should we
mom
get
get
to the big twist in this
what do you
film?
mean?
Like,
Oh, in Civil War,
Relate, yeah, for Civil War.
relating to Martha.
Yeah, pretty much.
No. Yeah, go ahead.
So, we essentially like about half, like towards the end, Iron Man and Captain America kind of like make up. Like they kind of like see like Iron Man
Fighting
comes in, is
isn't
like,
doing
yeah,
anything, basically.
I was wrong. I see what happened. Like I did the research. I know you're right. I am so sorry about this. So they're on good terms. They find Zemo, and Zemo shows a clip which was actually shown at the beginning of the film, where Bucky was doing like a regular assassination hunt. He was basically trying to get more of like the Captain America serum, which works. But
Yeah.
you think to yourself, who's carrying that?
They don't show it.
They don't show it until the very end. The two people showing it were Howard and I forget what her name was, but
Martha. Let's just call her Martha. Howard and
Howard
Martha
and Martha
Stark.
Stark.
So
Tony Stark's
basically-
parents. Essentially, Bucky killed Tony Stark's parents.
And there you go. More rekindlance of hatred
Yeah.
between the two parties.
Like at that point, like that's what sets him over the edge and like attacks Bucky. And one thing I remember, like, because I was talking to a friend to a friend about this, because he said he had some problems with the film, which are totally illegit, dude. Seriously, that was. I know you're watching this, and you know who you are, so leave a comment saying how wrong you are. And
Okay,
I'll be happy.
what were his problems?
Like he said, I remember
curious.
like I sat down with him at lunch on Monday. I said I really enjoyed the film, and he said, I'm surprised. There's a versus film that like it seems that Captain America and Iron Man had a worse reason to fight than Batman and Superman did. And as soon as I heard that, I was like,
what?
no.
No. Batman and Superman had zero reason to fight, in my
Like,
opinion.
I-
There was
I can
definitely reason
see-
here.
Yeah, but like that's kind of like the risk you have with these movies, because like sometimes the reason can feel a little bit forced. But when you see, what I really liked about this was that, because like with Batman in Batman v Superman, that was more so fighting for the greater good, in a sense, what he thought was the greater good.
Yeah,
For this, it's a lot more powerful because
it's personal.
he's fighting out of revenge. He
Yeah.
hates this fucker.
And
Because
you
like
see,
he says like as soon as he says like, Tony, you need to stop this. Like, that son of a bitch killed my mom.
yeah,
I'm
Martha.
gonna kill him.
So,
So like,
no,
I said,
Go
that's
ahead. Sorry.
that's what I love about this fight. Like, you just see like this side of Tony you'd never seen before, and it's totally justified,
Yeah.
and it works so well.
And you need to understand that, like, throughout the movie, he's already broken. At the beginning of the movie, you know he's broken. He's
like,
guilty
he's
about.
fatigued. He's fatigued.
He can't take another revelation like this. This is just way too much for him to handle. He needs to deal out this rage. And Captain America, being the goody two shoes he is like, no, you got the
Sorry,
wrong guy.
Buck.
Like, I get he killed your parents, but he was under the influence. DUI. Step off. But, like, you know,
I'm sorry, Tony.
Iron Man
but
is
Buck-
not gonna
I'm
happen.
sorry, Tony, but Bucky's my friend. So was I.
Yeah, that line actually.
That line, I remember when I saw that in the trailer, I was like, yeah, oh my god, this is gonna be insane, but I want to see it so much.
Yeah, it was definitely powerful in the film.
And the
too.
fight between, like, I love the fact that the final fight was not between them and Zemo. Like, they don't make up in this. Like,
No,
they're
they
left.
don't.
I can tell, like,
At the end, they're still like bitter with each other, and they're
you can tell they're trying to make amends, but it's gonna take some healing.
yeah.
But
And,
you can, but like what I love is that they don't fight Zemo. Zemo is just sort of out, and like Black Panther goes to deal with him because he finds
Yeah.
out that Bucky was innocent.
But this is the thing that is worrying me. I just, with the Marvel release list, I'm wondering what they're gonna do with Zemo next. I guess if you don't have anything else to say, do you want this to be our conclusion? What are they gonna do with Zemo, or do you have anything else to say?
Well, I will say one more thing. It did have my second favorite Stan Lee cameo of all time.
Yeah.
For those who hadn't seen the film, he's a UPS man who delivers like Captain America's letter to Tony saying, "Is there a Tony Stank in here?" It was that was surprisingly got one of the best reactions out of the, because we went to see this with a packed theater. We needed to see this with a packed audience, and the audience
Yeah.
was great for this.
So yeah, that was definitely hilarious. But so back to Zemo. Yeah, we don't actually get any closure with him.
He's just locked. He's locked
he's
up.
sort of. What was that?
He's essentially just locked up.
Is he? Oh, wait.
Yeah, he was sent to prison.
Oh,
Not
okay.
prison, but he sent
Well-
like in the same cell Bucky was in.
Okay.
Essentially.
So, but basically, this is like one of the first times, other than Loki, that Marvel has not killed off their villain, which is
Yeah.
huge because I am really curious to see what they're gonna do with Zemo, especially looking at their future releases. I don't know if they're gonna have room for him. Next is Doctor Strange, Thor, Ragnarok, Spider-Man. My theory, personally, is that if you don't know, in Doctor Strange's world, he is arch enemies with a guy named Baron Mordo. There's a lot of Barons in the Marvel universe. I honestly don't know what their relation is, but I feel like they're gonna combine the Baron. I feel like they're gonna make Baron Mordo and Baron Zemo just the same character. I could totally see them doing it. They've done it in the past where they sort of take the comics and make it their own, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah, if
But I
anything,
do I do want to
if
see
anything, I'm
more of
all for
Zemo
that.
because I feel like he has a lot of room for growth,
Yeah,
especially since,
I
like you
have a
said, he was locked
prediction.
up at the end.
Yeah, I have a prediction because we're getting Black Panther in 2019. I want to say, or
Yeah, I know 2018, I believe.
20. Okay, yeah,
Because
2018.
2019 is Infinity Wars.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I have a feeling for that film, for Black Panther, he's gonna be the villain.
Yeah, okay.
I have a
I can
feeling
definitely
he's
see
gonna
that.
be like one of like, if not one of the major threats.
hmm Especially since now Black Panther knows that he's responsible for the death of his father, and on top of that, he now has access to the other five Winter Soldiers. That are they dead? I don't know.
Yeah, he killed them.
Oh, the five Winter Soldiers other than Bucky are dead,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
That is one thing I want to point out because I remember my friend again leave the comment. He said, like, what was the point of having them? It's like, no, that did kind of show that this guy was like, if we just got the point where it was like, like if the five Winter Soldiers were still there wouldn't be a point for Tony and Captain America to go after him.
No, not at all.
But when you see that he killed them, you notice like, oh shit, this guy's got something up his sleeve. Like, because he didn't want to start up an army, because he knew like if he started up an army,
Draw too much attention, stuff like
well,
that.
that would also encourage them to work together, which would kind of rekindle them, which is the exact opposite of what he wants. So killing them was a perfect setup for him to like, just like go all out, again, Martha, just. I
No,
really
but
fuck with Tony.
definitely, like, if you have any doubts about Zemo, definitely go look him up. He's very interesting. They haven't shown off his costume, but he is like this Deadpool-looking guy. He carries around a sword. He's basically a purple Deadpool, and he's this leader of a seven seven man basically anti-Avengers of the Earth. They focus on annoying the Avengers basically. And if you wanna look up Baron Zemo, he is very interesting. They've taken a lot of time in past comics developing him. He has a lot of ties to Hydra. He has a lot of ties to the Winter Soldier program. So if you have any doubts about him, definitely give him a shot because I can totally see the future of Baron Zemo looking really good for the MCU.
Yeah, especially considering that now that we're finally getting like Spider-Man, like whose face is getting animated, I imagine they're gonna animate his face as well, which would be
Yeah.
pretty cool. I think I'd like to see that.
Yeah. So I guess that was our.
One more thing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
The final post-credit scene.
Oh,
I remember you said it was gonna be Zemo. I said it was gonna be Spider-Man. It was
it was
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man. It was
Which-
really funny because there's a little gag at the end during the fight between Spider-Man and Captain America where Captain America is like, "So where are you from?" And he's like, "I'm from Queens." And Captain America's like Brooklyn, and then
Yeah.
he basically just goes away. And I don't know. Do you want to mention like how he said?
Yeah, he goes like he got like a black eye, so Aunt May came in to like give him an ice pack. He's like, who hit you again? It's like some really big guy from Brooklyn.
He had a huge friend.
Yeah.
And reference to Ant-Man going into.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. It's
Again,
really funny.
I love his reaction to Giant Man. It's like, oh shit! that line
Yeah.
was great.
So
But I did like, because I actually didn't know this at first, but I'm glad they kind of touched on this because like the little touches they added to Spider-Man. Because like at first we had organic web shooters, then we moved
Yeah.
on to the mechanical ones. Now we have mechanical with cartridges, but now also we have that little hologram thing we saw at the end, and I didn't know what that was at first.
yeah, me neither.
But
I did not.
I did a little research. that plays a big part in the comics and some of the animated shows. Like
Oh,
apparently
does it?
that's used to like as a makeshift flashlight, but also to like strike fear into the hearts of his enemies.
Oh, really?
Essentially, I don't
Okay.
really see how you could strike fear with a giant red sphere, but yeah, you know.
Well, yeah, I can definitely see them
Yeah,
like
but I remember
other
like
characters expanding on that.
yeah, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh, that's a cool detail to bring in. Like I'm kind of interested because like I know that's actually supposed to go on his utility belt
Oh,
instead of
okay.
his wrist, but like I think he'll probably move it in Homecoming. I'm not
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
but yeah, I again like ever since I remember like walking out of the theater saying I want to see more of this Spider-Man. I don't care if it's another origin story because I know that this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah. He
And
he definitely
even
owns
if
the
it is
character.
another origin story, I have faith that Marvel will do a good job like showing it in a unique way.
Absolutely. I
But
see exactly
I
what you
just
mean.
I'm just hoping the villains are good because Spider-Man has some of the best villains by far.
Hmm. That haven't really been done
Bitsy
justice other than
spider went up
Doc
the
Ock.
wide spout. Down came the goblin and took the spider out.
Awesome.
I love that
Beautiful.
bit.
So anyway, those were our thoughts on Captain America Civil War.
Go see
Uh,
it.
yeah,
You're,
definitely go see it. You will not be disappointed.
yeah.
So
If you had the option, here's a fun game to do. Watch Batman v Superman and then watch Captain America Civil War. You will have immediate mood whiplash, and it most likely will kill you from it, but still, you will love it to death.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
You'll,
thank you. Oh yeah, were you gonna make a final joke? I'm so
no, I
sorry.
was just going to say, like, if you haven't seen it, go see it, because it is one of the, it's a great kickoff to phase 3 of the Avengers, and
Absolutely.
I can't wait for more.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for doing what? Watching?
Doing like a Christopher Walken thing, like thank you so much for watching
Jeff Goldblum.
the show. Jeff Goldblum, Blum.
Okay,
Can't you see?
oh,
Gotta go
wait,
see
wait,
Captain
wait,
America Civil
Sean,
War.
Sean, Sean, Sean.
Yes.
Just end it when you said bloom. Just end it like that.
I had something else planned, but I'll see what I do. But it's like you must go. This is Jeff Goldblum saying you must go see Captain America Civil War.
I couldn't agree
in order
more.
To
I couldn't agree more.
because it has a good action and comedy.
Jeff Goldblum, stop. Do you know
and
he's from
also
Pittsburgh?
is
Yeah, he is.
good night, everybody.